Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about how we measure students' learning in class. If you're wondering how we calculate grades, that's a different video. But this one will explore exactly how teachers know whether a student is learning, what they do when students need more help, and how you can support your child's learning in every class, every level. When you and I were in school, our teachers gave us a lot of assignments. And we did them, or maybe didn't, and then we took a test. The test marked the end of the unit. Whether we did well on the test or not, we were moving on to the next unit. Everything followed a very tight schedule, and everyone in the class did more or less the same thing. Well, education has evolved quite a bit since then. We now know that the best practices for student learning involve adjusting our instruction in the middle of a unit based on how students are doing. So, if half of my class doesn't understand the concept I just taught, I'm not just going to race ahead. I'm going to reteach that concept to those students while giving the kids who did learn it a chance to go deeper. This means kids might be working on two different assignments, and it means I need to be flexible in my teaching. But how do I know who's learning what? Well, this is where formative assessments come in. Formative assessments are small and short, and teachers may give many of these throughout a unit. They can take any format. They might look like practice questions, discussion activities, quizzes, or surveys. A teacher might give an exit slip asking students to provide an example, recall a concept, or do a simple math problem. Another teacher might ask students to write a few sentences to determine mastery of writing or grammar skills. Tech-savvy teachers might have students explain their thinking using video tools. When it comes to formatives, there's no one correct format. In fact, homework is a formative assessment. Anything that helps a teacher get a sense of who knows what counts as a formative. When teachers get their formatives back from students, they analyze the data. What percentage of students are at each mastery level? Who is struggling on what skill? I might sort these exit slips from today into different piles based on which students seem to need more practice. This gives me a good plan for tomorrow. The students who need more practice will sit in a group with me to go over some common misunderstandings. We'll talk through the skills, examine where the mistakes are happening, and do a few more practice activities. The students who understand the content already will do something else. I'm going to have them work in a separate group on a tougher problem, something the class might not normally cover, but which will enrich their understanding of the concept. This way, each student in my class gets to work on the right activity for them. No one is forced to go over material they already know, and no one is pushed through something they don't understand yet. So, formative assessments are really essential to student learning. Without them, teachers wouldn't know how well students are learning, and they wouldn't be able to plan the best instruction for their students' needs. You can also see why we don't include formative assessments in students' grades. The purpose of formatives is really to respond to learning. Teachers need to know if students have or haven't learned, but there's no expectation that every child learns at the same pace. If some students need more practice, that's okay. There's no need to reflect every little practice activity in the final grade. Teachers will include formative assessments in your child's gradebook page so that you can see how they are performing on those checks for understanding throughout the unit. But, as I mentioned before, they're not part of your child's overall grade. The summative assessments are larger, end-of-unit assessments that do measure skills after lots of practice. Here's the thing. By the time the summative rolls around, both the teacher and the student should have a pretty good idea of the student's skill level. There should have been so many formatives and practice activities in class, not to mention tons of chances to get extra help and tailored activities, that the summative is really just the capstone. At this point in the unit, teachers want all students to be at the proficient level for about 80% of the standards. That's how they know their instruction was effective for most students. However, there may still be some students who need more time. That's why we do retests. You can check out our video on retests, but the short version is, retesting gives students who struggle to put everything together at the end, or who maybe just need a little more time, that extra chance to practice, learn, and prove what they know. Retesting is also good for teachers because they have fewer students entering the next unit without the needed skills. We believe it is important for all students to have the chances they need to learn, and we know you do too, because learning is what school is all about. Thanks for tuning in to our discussion on formatives and summatives. As always, the RLAS staff is eager to talk to you about your child's education, so please reach out to us anytime and keep coming back to the Parent Partnership Library.